Let's see what love is bringing towards you. Wait, stop scrolling for a second. I need to say this very clearly because some of you are sitting here convinced that this person doesn't care, that they've moved on, that whatever you felt between you was one-sided. And I'm telling you right now, you might want to think again. Let me just be really honest with you. Some people are being thought about way more than they realize. And if you clicked on this video, there's a chance you're one of them. Let's slow down for a moment because what I'm about to share might completely shift how you've been seeing this situation. Some people notice that when they finally let go of someone in their mind, when they stop checking their phone, stop wondering, stop waiting, that's when the energy shifts. It can feel like you've been carrying this quiet hope for weeks, maybe months, and then one day you just stop. You delete the draft texts, you stop replaying old conversations, you move on with your day without thinking about them every 5 minutes. And that's exactly when they start thinking about you. One possible interpretation here is that you've been so focused on whether they care is less than #0. 5 hashes greater than that. You haven't noticed the signs that they're struggling with the exact same question. Whether you still care, let me slow down. You may recognize this feeling if you've been telling yourself stories. They're probably happy without me. They've probably forgotten. They're probably with someone else by now. But what if none of that is true? It can feel like sitting alone at night, convinced you're the only one still affected, while they're out there doing the exact same thing, staring at their phone, typing and deleting, wondering if reaching out would be a mistake. Some people describe this as two people walking in circles around the same feeling, both too afraid to be the first to admit it. Hold on, this feels important. One symbolic layer here might be that moment when you're going about your day, making coffee, sitting at your desk, and suddenly you feel them. Not in a mystical way, just you think of them strongly, out of nowhere, and you brush it off. But what if they were thinking of you in that exact moment too? You may find that this week, or maybe even today, this person is closer to reaching out than you think. Not because of fate, but because they've been wrestling with it. It can feel like watching someone's name pop up in your notifications and your heart stopping for a second. That jolt of finally mixed with, wait, what do I even say? One possible reading here is that they've been obsessing, not in a toxic way, but in the way you obsess over something unfinished, something unresolved, something that still feels alive even though you've both been silent. Some people notice that silence doesn't mean indifference. Sometimes it means, I don't know how to say this yet. Let's pause for a moment. I feel like this person has been going through something. Not necessarily something dramatic, but something internal, a realization, a shift in how they see you, a recognition that what they had with you wasn't as easy to replace as they thought it would be. You may recognize this if you've had random moments lately where you just feel them, like they're energetically hovering, like they're present even though they're not physically there. It can feel like seeing their name everywhere, hearing a song that reminds you of them, running into mutual people who mention them casually. One symbolic interpretation might be that they've been trying to convince themselves they're fine without you and failing. I'm not sure why, but I feel like some of you have been in no contact, and It's been hard, really hard. You've been wondering if they even notice, if they even care, if the silence hurts them the way it hurts you. Some people describe this as the loneliest kind of longing because you're both there, both alive, both probably thinking of each other, but neither of you is moving. It can feel like standing on opposite sides of a door, both waiting for the other to knock first. One possible layer here is that this person is in love with you, but they're terrified. Terrified of rejection, terrified of being vulnerable, terrified that you've moved on and they'll look foolish reaching out. Let me slow down for a second. You may find that they've been watching you, not in a creepy way, but checking your social media, asking about you, noticing when you post, noticing when you don't. Some people notice that the person who seems the most distant is often the one paying the closest attention. It can feel like you're living your life, trying to move forward, and they're quietly observing every shift, every change, every sign that you might be okay without them, and that terrifies them. One symbolic reading might be rereading an old conversation and feeling the weight of everything unsaid, everything that ended too abruptly, everything that still feels unfinished. They're doing that too. Hold on. Let's sit with this. I feel like this person is battling with their pride, with their ego, with the part of them that says if they wanted to talk, they would have reached out by now. But they're forgetting that you might be thinking the exact same thing. You may recognize this if you've been in this weird standoff where both of you are waiting, both of you are hoping, both of you are too scared to make the first move. It can feel like a game of emotional chicken and nobody's winning. Some people describe this as the most frustrating kind of connection because the love is there, the care is there, the desire to reconnect is there, but the fear is louder. One possible interpretation is that this person has tried to move on. They've tried to distract themselves. They've maybe even entertained other people, but nothing feels the same. Nobody compares. And that realization is driving them crazy. Let's pause. You may find that they've been drafting messages, unsending them, writing out what they want to say, and then deleting it because it doesn't sound right. Some people notice that the person who's obsessing the most is often the one who appears the most unbothered. It can feel like they're out there living their life, posting, smiling, seeming fine, but late at night, they're thinking about you. One symbolic layer might be lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the last conversation you had, wondering what would have happened if they'd said something different, done something different. That's where they are right now. I feel like this person is dealing with regret, not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, persistent way. The kind of regret that shows up when you're doing something completely unrelated and suddenly you're hit with, I miss them. You may recognize this if you've felt that same thing, that unexpected wave of missing someone, even though you've been trying so hard not to. It can feel like being fine all day and then hearing a song, seeing a place, smelling something, and suddenly they're all you can think about. They're experiencing that too. Some people describe this as the kind of love that doesn't go away just because you're not talking. It lingers, it waits, it quietly refuses to let go. One possible reading here is that they're in love with you is less than #0. 5 hashes greater than, but they're scared that you're not in love with them anymore. They're scared that too much time has passed, that too much has been said or unsaid, that the window has closed. Let me slow down. What if I told you that the window hasn't closed, that they're standing on the other side of it, trying to find the courage to knock? You may find that when they do reach out, it won't be loud. It won't be grand. It might be something small, a like, a comment, a casual hey, because they're testing the waters, seeing if you're still open, seeing if there's still a chance. Some people notice that when someone finally reaches out after a long silence, the first message is never the real message. It's a feeler, a gentle probe to see how you respond. It can feel like receiving something so casual that you almost miss the weight behind it. But if you look closer, you'll see it. One symbolic interpretation might be getting a text that says something simple, something almost too casual, but the fact that they sent it at all speaks volumes. That's them reaching. Hold on, this feels really important. I feel like some of you are going to hear from this person soon, maybe this week, maybe even in the next few days. And when you do, you're going to feel a lot of things at once: relief, frustration, curiosity, caution. You may recognize that part of you has been waiting for this, hoping for this, but another part of you is already protecting itself, already asking, is this real, or are they just bored, just lonely, just testing? It can feel like it's less than #0. 5# is greater than wanting to respond immediately and wanting to wait 3 days at the same time. One possible layer here is that you get to decide. You get to decide what their reaching out means. You get to decide if you're open to it. You get to decide what you need from them before you even consider reopening that door. Some people notice that the power dynamic shifts the moment someone reaches out, because now they're the one who moved first. They're the one who admitted, even indirectly, that they're still thinking about you. And that gives you clarity. Let's sit with this. You may find that this person's love for you has never actually gone anywhere. It's just been quiet, buried under pride, under fear, under the belief that maybe you didn't feel the same, but it's still there. And it's getting harder for them to ignore. It can feel like watching someone try to act unbothered while everything about them screams, I care. One symbolic reading might be sitting across from someone in the future and finally hearing them say what they should have said months ago, and realizing you already knew. You always knew. I'm not sure why, but I feel like this connection isn't over. Not because it's meant to be, but because neither of you has actually let it go. Some people describe this as unfinished business, the kind that keeps pulling you back, the kind that shows up in dreams, in thoughts, in random moments of stillness. You may recognize this if you've been trying to move on and it just hasn't stuck. Not because you're weak, but because something in you knows there's more to this story. It can feel like closing a book before the last chapter, and no matter how many other books you pick up, you keep thinking about that one. One possible interpretation is that they feel the exact same way. They've tried to close the book too, and they can't. Take a breath. Whatever happens next, whether they reach out tomorrow or weeks from now, or you reach out first, just know this. You're not imagining it. The connection is real. The love, on some level, is still there.